Okay, so Aaron, how long have you been in the real estate sector, and what's so special about real estate in London?
I mean, my involvement is probably around about sort of eight years, around about that time that I've had involvement in it. And I suppose generalising the UK market is that what I will firstly say is that UK real estate market is obviously very lucrative, great opportunities in the UK, and obviously it's very much in demand. But what I will say is as we evolve and things change, especially in the finance world, that new ways of working in real estate and also outside of real estate are quite appealing now to a lot of newcomers and aspiring entrepreneurs. So yeah, property is great, but also on the horizon there's new opportunities, which is really exciting, especially in the UK and new companies and so forth. But in regards to property real estate, is that obviously we've had steady growth. London, the south, just in terms of the UK, obviously grows very quick. Prices are extremely high. And when it comes down to investing and actually getting onto the real estate market, for those that are interested, obviously a lot of people in the UK are being pushed up north in the UK where prices are more affordable. In terms of the market this year, so, if I have my 2 pence worth on what I think the market is going to be like this year, I think, again, it's going to be steady. I think with external factors that are going on with Ukraine and Russia and media hype and everything like that, we may see a dip across the UK in the UK, in the actual market itself, the housing market. But then I think there'll be a correction, and again we'll carry on this sort of steady incline when it comes to the UK real estate market. So to summarize, it's a great avenue to put your money into, set and forget, and build up your net worth. But I'm sure as we're going to get on to other money management and investment conversation, there are a lot of other exciting avenues to be putting your money into.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm so sorry for the people who are watching the recorded version of this podcast. Aaron is a real estate investor. He's a YouTuber who has a successful channel he's running up into. You could check that as well. He is also an Amazon author as well. He's a motivational speaker. He's an entrepreneur. He got a real vast background in real estate business, democratizing, and building up successful strategies for young hustlers or people who are new to the real estate market. Aaron guy is the right guy in London. He's easy to reach. You could just drop him a DM and he'll be right back to you. Okay, Aaron, this COVID impact, COVID really, took down major of the market. So do you think real estate had the biggest impact in the UK, or is it the same like it was before?
I think in terms of when you look at COVID, I think you've got to look at what it done overall. I mean, it basically sped up technology, and those, many people became aware of finance and investments and property and safeguarding their money because of COVID. So when you look at it as a whole to begin with, it made people realize that, have they got their money in the right places? Are they renting? Are they buying? What is their position within the real estate market? So, not just focusing on the real estate market, what did COVID do? It just made people very aware of their finances and investments. So for those that were in property and who have got big portfolios, what did it make landlords do? It made landlords realize that actually having tenants that were in certain parts of the country, and this is across the globe, that lost their jobs, that weren't in very good economical areas, that they can't pay their rent and that they have to rely on the government to support that. And that puts pressure on the landlords who have mortgages to pay. So there was a real ripple effect. So there were pros and cons. Big landlords, I know many who own large portfolios, is that it put a lot of stress on them to sell those portfolios, because a lot of mortgages knocking at the door saying we need our money, and then the landlord's not being able to pay that mortgage off, put a lot of stress. So one, there was great buying opportunity for those that did have their money in order and were very cash liquid and could make offers to take that pressure off landlords. But then on the negative side, there were a lot of landlords that had to release their portfolios. So COVID on the housing market it made people make a decision and reflect on, is property the safest way to safeguard your money? Is it the best way to cash flow in times of uncertainty like COVID? I think actually the majority of people that I know, it was a bit of a wake up call to think, actually, I need to diversify other than just property. So, you can sit on either side of the fence, but COVID definitely, what it done is it made people question their positioning. And there's a great saying, and I love this one, is that you don't know who's swimming naked until the tide goes out.
Exactly.
And there was a lot of questioning who was sitting in a good position, who was over leveraged, and who was well balanced and diversified.
Yeah, exactly. Real estate, hotel industry, airlines industry, everything had a huge impact, after COVID and the post-COVID, which is still happening around the world. Most of the parts of the world is still, trying to rejuvenate from the back of and trying to get back in the position. Okay, so Aaron, if you are advising a young hustler, if he has no knowledge of real estate, he has no, for a guy like me who has your knowledge of real estate, where to invest in, where to put the money in, there's a saying that you put the money where the mouth is, right? So how do you think he has the ability to, formulate a strategy and, start, bringing it up from the scratch? How do you propose that?
Yeah, so it's a good question, and a question that obviously gets asked a lot internally within ourselves. And I think when you look at, we have to really look at the reality of property. So you have to take a step back. One, you have to remember that property over the last 5-10 years, especially across social media, has had so much marketing pumped into it that everyone is programmed to think that property is the default way to replace your job, when in fact, actually, when you look at an average salary in the UK of £1,600 a month or 27,000 a year, is that you need a lot of properties to replace that income, and that takes a long time. So the reality is, it is a very slow process if you are wanting to get into property. So you need to take a step back and realize that if property is something you're really passionate about, you have to be willing to take the time in order to slowly build up that portfolio, meet with the right people, right investor network, because everyone runs out of money at some point.
Exactly.
So if property is an avenue, you need to look at it in the realistic way and just take the marketing media hype with a pinch of salt. Can you buy property with none of your own money? For anyone that watches on your channel, no, not really. The truth is not really. I mean, it's very unlikely. Can you do it on limited knowledge and education? Not really, because when you get to the stage that you need to say to someone, I do need to borrow money, you need to have the knowledge and the education. Otherwise, they're not going to feel comfortable to lend their money. There are so many strategies. You have to remember that if you're close to paying for a mentor or an educational company, you've got to remember they've set up an educational company to profit from that company. And there are so many property strategies that what happens is it confuses your brain. So if I say to you, okay, you can do rent to rent, you can do SA, you can do buy refurb, you can do joint venture, and I list off 10 suggestions to you, you get confused on what you should be doing. So therefore you feel in a position of, I don't know what to do. So I need someone to hold my hand, and you carry on paying for education. Whereas if you actually just look at property from a very simple perspective of, if I manage my money, regardless of my salary, if I'm really good with my money, I work hard, I generate extra income, and I save, what I could do is I could potentially put down a deposit on my first buy to let. I could get a mortgage, or I could connect with a couple of investors over a 6-month period and borrow the shortfall of 30, 40,000 to complete that deal, and just repeat that process slowly and just keep it very simple. If you want to build a buy-to-let portfolio, commit to that, and just realize that it might take you 3-4 years to build a five property portfolio. And that's the reality of it, rather than thinking, I'm going to do rent to rent, I'm going to do SA, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And lo and behold, you do nothing. So property has had a lot of marketing. You need to take it with a pinch of salt. It's very hard. Yes, you need money. Education is absolutely key, but you can learn off your own back, because that's what I've done. I haven't paid for my education, and everyone else can do the same.
I mean, that's really suggestive, but having the part where you realize, you need to have some money almost. I don't know how much money you need to have in London, but as compared, you need to have almost £1,000, to invest into the real estate, right? A guy like me who has, an average job, average salary, he's doing a basic work. How do you propose that he's going to go into the joint venture? Which one do you suggest is going to be best for him? If he can't barely manage his expenses. So which one among the ones you mentioned is going to be best for him?
So the first thing you have to do, whether you're 18, 19, 20, 35, 40, and you're looking to get into a better financial position, is it starts at the front door. It starts with us. So we have to manage our money correctly. So if you're overspending to what you're bringing in, then there's no point even looking at business or property before you've managed yourself. So you need to be disciplined. You need to be committed. You need to set up standing orders. Everyone should have standing orders. I have something like 21 bank accounts. Every single bank account serves a purpose. So what you need to do is you need to look at your own finances. What's coming in, what's going out. And then you need, if you have Now TV, Prime Video, Netflix, God knows what else. You don't need all of those. Get rid of 4 of them. Just have Netflix. And exactly. That's going to be another 4 times 8. You're going to get basically a nice chunk of money.
Exactly.
Every month. Go through your finances. Reduce what you spend. Manage your money very well. And then once you've got yourself in order, that's when you can go, okay. And then you can start forecasting. You can say, okay, if I work really hard on my salary right now, I live on less, I don't eat out as much, and I'm committed to bettering myself for the next 2 years. This is the kind of money that I could have saved. And then during that period, if you are a true entrepreneur and you do want to make more money, you'll go and develop a side hustle from home. Maybe you're passionate about coffee and you save up, in England, you save up £800-900, you buy an old trailer. You refurb it and you create a coffee bar, and then you pay for a patch and you pay for someone daily 60-70 pounds at a food festival and a drinks festival.
I get it.
Yeah. So you start looking at new ways of making income. But I would say for anyone watching, property is great to build your net worth, but I would focus on building a business that cash flows and profits, and then with the profits and cash flow you put into your business. And I would say also, don't quit your job. Put in the hours working alongside your job. I love this saying, and it's totally true, and everyone should remember this. If you want to get to the stage where you don't have to look at a price tag and you can walk in somewhere and you don't need to ask how much it is, you need to get to the stage where you don't look at the clock. You don't go, oh, it's 8 o'clock, better shut my laptop up. No, if you need to carry on working till 1 a.m, that's what you got to do. And if you need to be up at 6, I sleep about 4 hours a night. I go to bed maybe at 1:30 every night, and then I'm up at 6 to go in the gym for 6:45. So I don't sleep a lot. That's not going to be forever, but I'm willing to put the work in now, so later I don't have to.
Exactly.
And that's why they say it's the 1%, because if we line ourselves up with 300 people that we pass in our local towns, we'll be the 1% of those 300 people.
Exactly. True. So true, man. So true.
So yeah.
Beautiful saying, man. Beautiful saying. Really love it. Karen, what's the best investment you have ever made, in your entire life up to now? Either professional or personal life, what's the best investment you got?
Well, as gimmicky as it is, obviously the best investment is yourself, because you are the reason you'll make money or you won't make money. So, that is very much true. It is oversaid, but it's absolutely true, is that the more you start to educate yourself, the more you start to put into yourself, health, routine, structure, will increase on your peak performance. So the more you invest into yourself, the more opportunities you have. The second investment I would actually say, before I even get onto any finances, because you can only do so much at a certain point. The second best investment that I've ever made is my network. Those that are around you. And then after the network, then comes the financials. But secondly, you have to have a brilliant network around you. And I'm very cutthroat in when I say I don't accept any negativity in my life. So if someone starts moaning, talking about people that, they're not supportive, stuff like that, you have to quickly identify that and cut that off. After the network is very good and it's very strong and it's very supportive, then you start looking at opportunities within your finances, providing your money manage well. I would say my best investment really is I swapped direct property investing, as in portfolio building, as in actually buying houses, to sitting back as a passive investor into corporate developers, where I can essentially become a silent investor, an armchair investor, lend my money out,
kind of a kingmaker, right?
Yeah, get a great return in an industry that I understand very well. And when you start investing 3-4 times a year into development schemes, property schemes, which others take your money and obviously use for their projects, if you can do that 3-4 times a year, it's a lot more lucrative than going and buying a property that has a boiler breakdown, has a leaky roof, tenants don't pay, landlord insurance, estate agency. Rather than paying out a lot of money, we're actually growing it, opposed to spending out. So I would say lending money to the right companies that offer the right return, matched up with the right security, is far more lucrative than ever really going and spending money on a buy-to-let portfolio, which is obviously, again, people sit on the fence with that. Is it right? Is it wrong? Well, it's down to everyone.
True.
Individual.
Well. Exactly. So Aaron, many people, start get confusing that either they should invest their own money or, they should lend somebody and they start investing. What's the best way? How could you, highlight the difference between the 2 points?
Well, again, it's personal preference, and it's your financial positioning. So if you're going to invest, there's this other thing as well, is you have to invest not on hype, but it has to be for your own reasons and understanding, and that you realize what you're investing into. Because if you don't fully understand it, or let's just say, you message me and you're like, hey, Aaron, there's this investment I've gone into, it's amazing, blah, 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 you got to get involved. And I just went, amazing, let's do it. I've made a really bad decision, because one, I've invested purely off of your recommendation. If I'm not doing any due diligence, if it's a business that I don't understand, that's not a good financial decision. And and I'm at a higher risk of losing my money because I've made a decision I don't understand why I've made that. So if whatever investment you make, you have to sit there and be 100% comfortable that, one, you have to understand that every investment is capital at risk. So you have to realize that the money that you're parting with, you have to accept that you may never get that back. Two, you have to obviously know the business that you're investing into, because otherwise, when things may go wrong, and they do go wrong, you have to understand how you might be able to recoup and get that back by understanding the industry. So it really is personal preference, but I would always say, never ever in a million years invest on initial excitement of the thought of, well, like crypto and meme stocks, they have an instant impact. Exactly. A lot of media, and people get drawn in, and often people vote. Yeah, it's the momentum.
Moment they go up is the moment they go down. So you have no extrinsic value. You got no fiat money. You got nothing. It's all in the wind. The real estate is far more secure investment rather than the cryptos or the stock exchange traders and etc. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, Aaron. You have multiple portfolios, either it's on socials or either it's on, your own business commercials, which one would you suggest? Either it's gonna be, which social platform would you highly recommend me to, start making my own network? Either it's gonna be YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, there are many other platforms. Which one would your be top preference on?
So the Instagram that I'm actually on now, so I have two Instagrams, Knightley's Roundtable Podcast, which is new, and then I have my Aaron Knightley Official. Believe it or not, that's actually a new Instagram account. I had an old Instagram account called Knightley Investments, which was quite a big Instagram account. I don't know if you used to follow me on my original.
No, I got this one.
But if I had my original, I'd imagine I'd probably be on about 13, 14K by now. And it got shut down by Instagram because I had a lot of people copying my accounts, and then Instagram. So I actually lost my original account. So this Aaron Knightley Official is a new one. So on that basis, Instagram's brilliant for exposure, showing what you're capable of doing, getting yourself out there, but it's also very unstable that you can lose your account like that. So this is just my advice on Instagram. If you're going to start Instagram, open two accounts. Have a backup account that you keep growing and have your main account. But overall, Instagram is brilliant for building your personal brand, showcasing what you do so people can get in touch with you. Now, if you want to build a brilliant network of CEOs, investors, really high profile business owners that have done very well for 30, 40 years, LinkedIn is the place where you need to be. LinkedIn's a little bit boring. There's not much engagement. Yeah. Not all the time. It's quite, you feel like you're banging your head against a wall. However, it's the platform where you can literally rub shoulders with people that are running companies that are 10 million to 100 million a year. And they're there and you can speak with them. And that's really powerful. But I don't think that's quite sunk in for a lot of people, is that you can speak with people that are running £100 million businesses.
Exactly.
I do it all the time. I was on a live yesterday and, it's no joke, but my phone book, the value of the businesses within my phone book is well over £1 billion. And the majority of that, I would say, is built up of LinkedIn over an 8-year period. So it's really worth developing a great profile, a great posting structure, from posting who you are, another post of what you do, and then a final post of get in touch, let's have a conversation, and sticking with that process to let, it doesn't matter if you get a huge amount of engagement, it's about showing up. It's about seeing your face pop up every morning, so that the day that you do reach out to that individual, they've seen you, they've seen you pop up. They might not have engaged, but they know who you are.
But they know you, yeah. They exactly know what services are you providing. They exactly know what kind of business you're into. Yeah, that's very good. Now, Aaron, when it's about converting the leads into prospects, does it actually work?
Lead generation on it. Yeah. So you have to. I mean, look. What I would say is read a lot of sales books. Sales books are brilliant because there are so many tips, tricks, and techniques of how to create funnels through your social media. And there is a process behind most things. So if you are using LinkedIn, there is a process about how you post. And, I talk a lot about this on like my one-to-one calls, and really sort of go into templates and stuff that you can use to make it a lot more simple and a lot more time effective. But also the great thing about LinkedIn is to generate leads is you can actually go and find your ideal client, because the keyword search is insane. You don't get the keyword search on LinkedIn like any other platform. You can literally filter off the exact client that you're looking for and connect with them. Again, people don't really realize the power of actually having a search bar that you can go and find your ideal client. And, at the moment, a little tip and a trick, if you're on LinkedIn at the moment, which is really hot, I think I could probably just show you, just to give you basically the example of how it works, is that the polling system on LinkedIn at the moment is really
polling
hot.
system. Yeah,
It's really hot at the moment.
I've seen you doing those.
Yeah, it's a great funnel to get in contact with people, because you can put up a poll post, you get 4 options, and what you can do is you can tailor that post to the kind of business that you're in. So you could say, to grow your business, what would be the preferred method? Digital marketing, face-to-face, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And then whoever selects the option that is closest to you and your business, well, everyone there is now your potential client. So for example, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Let me see if I can just get it in focus.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Okay, so I've got 98 votes, yeah? Okay, and the post here, starting again at 18, what would you do? Save more money, invest, travel more. So what I can do is I can start speaking to the people that said, I would invest it earlier or save more money. And I can speak with these people and say, well, look, there still is time. Let's have a conversation. What investment opportunities would you like? So it sparks conversation. So there's a lot of techniques that you can use to generate leads off of LinkedIn, opposed to Instagram, whereas you put out a post and you hope people get in touch because of the photo.
Exactly. True, man. That's a really good advice. People are gonna watch the recorded version of this. Are going to take much out of this. Okay, Aaron. Just last question. One last code, your favorite code that really changed your perspective. Of becoming a 24/7 9 to 5 hustler to a young hustler who is technically on his own and really wants to grow his business. What's the one advice that you're going to give it to him?
Well, I would just say that one, obviously, you've got to start as soon as possible. So you need to realize that you'll know whether you want to work a 9 to 5 or not, because it will be in your gut. You'll know if you want to work for someone or not. So when you realize that actually you don't want to work for someone and there's something in you, it's just quickly identifying that. Secondly, we're in a world where there are so many options to make money that it's very confusing to what you start with. And a lot of people I know who are 20, 21, 22, 23, they want to do more, but they have no idea where to start. So the process of that is there is no right or wrong answer. You just need to start trying things. But very importantly, you need to realize that you want to reduce the amount of money that you spend on each of these trials. And you need to know when to call it a day and cut your losses and say, I tried it, I ran it, it didn't work, I move on. And you try stuff until you enjoy it. So you need to try as many things as you can in the shortest period of time without spending too much money. After that, it's about education, constantly learning every day, whether you're a reader or an audio listener. I would always say listen to audio because it's time leverage rather than, in my eyes, who has the time to sit down in an armchair and read 30, 40 pages of a book? I don't have time. I have to listen to audio as I'm on the treadmill, as I'm driving, in order to get my education in. So that's the really big part, is you keep learning every day. And then you learn to take rejection. You have to learn to hear no. You have to be really thick-skinned in order to keep moving forward. Because if you're a little bit sensitive and I didn't like that, and he upset me, she upset me, it's going to be quite hard. So you need to realize that you're probably going to have 70% no's, 30% yeses, and that will be the entire ratio for the rest of your life. Until you get to a really successful point where your credibility speaks for itself. And then other than that, you just pursue it every single day.
That's wonderful, man. Wonderful said. I mean, people are going to be really enthusiastic, after to see how in depth you have explained how investments have, grown so far. Aaron, just a little, just a cherry on the top, just a little thing. Do you think real estate in London? Oh, it's no worries. Do you think real estate in London, can it be tokenized? A small fractions of partial investments. Could that be a possible way? Could that happen in London?
I think it's only a matter of time, really, until everything is. I mean, I have a YouTube tonight out actually, which is about protecting and trademarking your business and your logo and your brand. But also we start to talk about protecting your branding, logo, investments in the metaverse, in the digital world, because will everything, maybe we're not going to be on a Zoom very soon, and that we'll meet in a digital
world.
So absolutely, will a phone be digitalized? Will it be tokenized? Will there be limited edition iPhone that you can token and will be an NFT? And I think absolutely everything will. I think you'll be able to buy a limited sofa that will be tokenized. I think everything will end up, because it's all about making money. And if someone's got a powerful enough standing, it only takes Elon Musk to say, new token, protein bottle, limited edition, only one in the digital world, worth 4.5 billion. I think everything will. So when you talk about real estate, absolutely. I think Michael Jordan's house was turned into a token and was sold for something like $10 million. Michael Jordan. Someone bought his metaverse house. So yeah, absolutely. And London, will the Gherkin, will the Shard, big iconic buildings in London, will the Empire State Building be tokenized? Probably. Yeah, probably.
Cool. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you so much for, taking the time out, coming to the show. It was really a privilege for me, for the team. It was really an honor to have you. We're looking forward to, have more relationships, more, podcasts coming up soon. And you should definitely be reaching out to you again, maybe for a little bit different topic, more on data and the tokenization of real estate and, helping everybody to invest in secure real estate investments with your guidance and with your sympathies. I think that's going to be a wonderful opportunity.
Yeah, no, well, thanks for having me on, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you so much. I'm just going to cut off the recording session. Here it goes.